It's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 days a week. We're here on LinkedIn Live for the Hour of Empower. This whole show is based and directed towards helping the audience, relating to the audience. This is real time, real people, real conversation. So if you got something to think about and you want to share it, feel free. With that said, chat's open, so feel free to start engaging and we'll follow your lead. With that, I'm so honored today to have Omar M. With us and also to have Rita Wirtz with us. And both of them have been significant contributors and supporters, not only of my initiatives and LinkedIn Live, but so many others. So I also encourage everybody to take this opportunity to reach out, connect with people, see who people are, and start the benefit of networking. With that said, turning it over to Omar. Maybe he could share a little bit about what he's been doing since he was here last and what's his thoughts about legacy.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Don, for having me, and great to see here with Rita as well. When Rita said, "Do you want to come join me?" I said, "I can't say no. I have to come and join both of you guys. You guys are both great." And think I was here a couple of months ago, maybe, and it's great. I didn't think it would the honor to come back again, and I had brought my hat this time because everybody seems to hat with it, and so I've been excellent. And so it's springtime here, middle of April. I program Zoom party. I've been working hard, meeting a lot of people through the LinkedIn. Uh, I did a couple of LinkedIn lives ever since then with a young lady from Indonesia, as well as a guy from Nigeria, Godswell and Myra. If you guys are watching, those were very excellent LinkedIn lives, and hopefully a month or so. It's a good way to interact with people and get to learn about their culture and what they think about America and what we think about their culture. So, and it's a good trend. So that's a little bit of what I've been doing in the past couple of weeks. And I want to thank you, Don.
Well, you bet. You bet. Rita, I know you've been thinking about legacy and so excited to have you on and be able to share. And, to complete it, we got 3 hats. We're looking for a hat sponsor next week. So if you know somebody, we can bring hats back like they used to be. With that, Rita, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what's your thoughts on legacy?
Hello. If I haven't met you before, I am Rita Wirtz, Wirtz. I'm married to the man. And I'm living in Eugene, Oregon these days. I was a California school principal and all kinds of jobs, but that's not why we're here today. I'm here to celebrate the 3 here, yes, but all of you, because I believe we are in a defining moment and we have the opportunity right now to really seriously take a look at what our legacy will be. It was my one word 3 years ago. So for a whole year, I worked with legacy. And in fact, in 2019, after I lost my husband, I did write a memoir, and it was not about my whole life. It was about a period of transition, like we all have, losing my husband and making a move to Oregon and yada, yada, yada. But in all of this time, I kept thinking about what will my legacy be? I know some things that are really great, but it's more than that. We're looking at our legacy now for the whole world in this defining moment. So I'd like us to think of legacy in a couple ways. One is personally, how we feel we have done so far with achieving our purpose, with our passion and the tenacity to get it done. So that's first. It is personal. The second thing I'd like to think about is artifacts. What might we be leaving for the next generations? And this might be as simple as a journal that we keep or a quilt that we make, if that's what our gift or talent is. It might be writing books like I've been doing and blogs like I've been doing. But a tangible aspect, what are you leaving that would be like in a time capsule for those that follow us? So So that's where we are. And I'd like to turn it over to back to Don, I think.
Okay, well, you did great, Rita. I thought that was really wonderful food for thought. And when you talk about legacy, what I think
Yes.
about is this show because,
Yes.
this is probably my 300th day in a row. So I've got about 300 hours of this. And I think of my grandkids and their kids and who can see me 20, 30, 40 years ago when I'm relevant, talking to people, talking evergreen topics. And, I think that's the key. Everybody has a treasure chest inside of them.
Yes.
What do they choose to pick out every day to appreciate? But more importantly, what can they share to others? Because, they say you come into the world with nothing, the worst you can do is break even. Right?
Yeah.
And you can't take nothing with you. So sharing is caring, and sharing thoughts that can help more people in a more time efficient way, especially in what we're dealing with here, where institutions and governments can't serve all the needs of everyone. The answer is peer to peer conversations like this that can reach a lot of people in real time on their own level of convenience. And I think that's so important. Before I turn it back to Omar, want to recognize some of the wonderful people in the audience. Dean's here. Dean's here almost every morning. And it's always great to have Dean, because without an audience, there's no show. And without an audience getting value, there's no return audience. So, our goal is to make every week, every show better than the last. And as you get better, the audience that is, you make it better for everybody because you bring more back. Matt Allen says, happy Saturday, all. Hello, Rita. I know Matt's connected with Rita. And Omar, Donna, my friends, you are the miracle. Thank you. Linda Coleman's here. Just a wonderful individual, brings a wonderful spirit to everything we do here. Thank you, Linda. Looks like Matt knows Linda also. You are the miracle. Well, that's pretty uplifting, and it's really positive to greet people with something that's uplifting, and that's really what helps the hour of empower. Omar, what's your thoughts of what we're doing so far for, what are we, 7 minutes in?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say thank you to Matt as well for joining here. He's a great guy. I was on the show a couple of times, and I don't think I gave my insight on legacy, right? So,
Yes.
what is legacy? Legacy, basically, we're going to go on dictionary.com to see what there's two definitions. And I think we're going to take the second one. The first one is an amount of money left someone in a. That's the legacy we want to use here. But the second one, which is a long-lasting impact of a particular action that takes place in a person's past, right? And so that's the importance of legacy that we want. And as Rita said earlier, in terms of her husband and all that, and writing a book, I believe, that we need to have some kind of an impact that we will strive for the future kind of humanity, right? Whatever it is. And people remember you by either write a book that will impact people on what's going to happen in the future. And so if we write a book now in the 2020s and in the 2030s and the 40s, they're going to read that and impact them on that. So that's what my thought is about legacy and in terms of what we need to do. So, yeah, thank you.
Great. Well, turn it back to Rita. What's your
I had to snitch a little water. Along the way in my very long career, let's not go how many years I'm in, but most of my life I've been a teacher one level or another, one way or another. We all are. Everybody's a teacher now, whether you're in a workplace teaching or you're home as a parent or a guardian, a caregiver. So I'm going to go back to my first question. Do we, in fact, have a clear vision, a clear roadmap of where we think we're going, and what have we already accomplished, and what's next? What are the most important things? When we talk about looking at the staircase, we don't just do the Indiana Jones leap right to the top. We really mostly go little bitty baby steps like this, and then maybe you go back a little bit, but always moving forward. I always feel like I'm the sloth and I'm behind on everything all the time. But that's not the case. We're all just taking on so much, because I do believe that we're all in this for the count, that it's challenging times, extraordinary opportunities. And by working together, we can build on this defining moment as a collective body. And therefore, we're not only affecting our own personal legacy, but we are affecting, hopefully, the legacy of our entire planet. It's not just the United States, it's everybody. We're in this together. What do you want to have at the end of your life? And that could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 20 more years. So I want to live it in my optimistic fullness till my very last breath. So I'm not done yet. I'm still here with a long way to go.
Well, and I think that's very encouraging and positive. And, when you look at legacy or you look at any word, there's so many different definitions based on different perspectives and contexts. And in some ways, you leave a legacy when you leave, but you're also building a legacy while you're here. And you're spreading that legacy before you have to go. So what we're saying now is impacting a lot of people that we see, but it's going to impact a lot of people we'll never see or know. And maybe it's the one word, the one experience, the one whatever that allows someone to pivot or at least take count of where they are. And everything is the journey, because there's so many people can't wait to get to a destination. As soon as they get there, they can't wait to leave there and go to another one. And, it's when do you enjoy the present,
right,
when you're carrying legacy into the future. And that's not a good legacy, right? And I used to do a lot of turnarounds and restructurings of companies. And it was that sacred cow, who couldn't get fired, right? It was that project that was dear to somebody's heart that wasn't working, but continued. And, that's one good thing about startups or even turnarounds is you clean the slate, and you start fresh with what's relevant today. And everybody is always a day behind if they're not doing something that day. If they're not learning, if they're not growing, they're backing up. It's like going up a down escalator.
That's right.
And if you can't do it by yourself, and there's a lot of people who can't and probably shouldn't, it's working with someone else, because two halves will make two wholes when you put them both together. And if you bring them together through common thought, and, the beauty of shows like that are really encouraging positive, optimistic behavior and conversation, is it has a passport to everywhere in the world. There isn't a culture, a religion, a boundary that will not accept love, kindness, thoughtful encouragement. And in that way, you play to a bigger audience, and you attract who you are and what the message you have. So I think the legacy is talking, because that's what you can do right now to anybody around you. And one person helping another will create a universal legacy that now we can, contribute, pass forward to people who have yet to come, and take recognition and appreciation for putting a brick in that wall. So let's just go through. We got a lot of comments. So let's get back to our comments. I'll start here. Matt Allen, message received. Thank you for your kindness and affirmation. A pleasure. Matt goes on to say, Paul is universal to everybody I see. He's everywhere with everybody. I don't know how he does it. Matt, you are the miracle. Paul says, great seeing you again. And, that's the key to shows like this it's not just the people on the screen, it's the people in the audience that people are having subgroups with, meetings afterwards. I mean, this is a marketplace. If you go to a marketplace, pick up a connection, pick up a thought, share something, leave something. But I do appreciate people who just come and look, because that's where they're at. And maybe they'll take a step forward into the future. You're never so right. And we don't know anything till someone tells us something. Right. So that's why feedback is so important. I think for me, that's why I'm writing books and speaking. I'll be able to leave the world with things that will outlive me. And I always act with a sense of urgency. That's why I have never missed a show in 10 months. I don't want to miss an opportunity. And when you do it every day with 2 or 3 people, you know, you learn so much from the interaction. Then you add the audience and you do it again every day. It's like going to the gym. My mentor makes such a powerful point of legacy, though many of us will be forgotten in the next 40 or 50 years. Your real legacy is the now, and you can't help everyone. However, you can help someone, one step at a time. I mean, that's how it works. You never know who people know and who they'll become.
Right.
You never know who you are until you become something. A lot of people get paid before they're worthy or have done the work, and they get disappointed. And it's perspective. We can help everyone, Paul. I believe it is more than possible. Linda, yes, this community is showing the world and come together with kindness and encouragement to overcome, reach out, and share to lift and inspire others, found here as a legacy. Kim is actually going to be on for the first time herself on Thursday with Kelly and me. I believe the seeds we plant now continue to grow and flourish in this moment, and well after we leave, if we plant intentionally. Well, there's a lot of great. Omar, what's your thoughts to any and all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like the idea of what Paul was saying in terms of this is our legacy now, right? Because
right now,
if we have an impact in the next 40, 50 years after we're gone and we're not alive anymore, we have to do something major. Like the majority of people who are out there who did something big, and we can still remember them after so much time, some of our great, leaders of the past, they did major things, but we need to do the impact. We are right now living in the present moment. We're able to impact people around us, from our families, from our neighbors, from society at whole, right? Like you mentioned earlier, who has a shoelace loose? Talk to them, right? Done. So that's what we need to do. Help our society, help everybody, and this is our legacy, as Paul was saying. So that's definitely a true thing. And education is always important. We're all educators, as Rita said.
Right.
You always need to be educating people, no matter what you are, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. You're an educator. You're teaching people, and whatever you're doing, people will remember you, and then they'll do that. So that's the legacy. So, yeah.
Wow. Mentoring and coaching come right in there. We know that we all need one another, but we need to do even more mentoring. And what I'm hoping to see in the coming years is that when we look at any workforce, it really is diversified and there really is equity. And so we might have a number of people who've been around in the systems for a long time, and we have newbies as well. And that's where the sharing comes in. I've always written that besides coaching, that everybody needs a mentor, whether it's a CEO or it's a principal of the school, as I was. You have to have a mentor. And so my goal is always to help everyone behind the scenes, make them look good. But on the other hand, I come to people when I need help. Omar, I don't get this. What is this? Don, I haven't done it this way. We have to be willing to ask for help. And I think it was Bill Nye that said, everybody knows something that you don't know. And so when you come on LinkedIn, you put it out there and someone will know. And everybody's so gracious here. I just love being here with you. I'm so honored.
Well, we're so honored to have both of you. And, it really builds from and to each other like we're doing, because this is unscripted. I mean, there's no idea what's going to happen next, but that also gives everybody the liberty and freedom to to share what they're thinking right now based on where they are right now with who they are right now.
Right.
Really makes it relevant. And I think to have a quality legacy, it has to be relevant to what you're handing down. If you're the only person that collects old pop bottles, it may not be something that you want to share with somebody or somebody wants to receive. So, I think if you can build a legacy that you're happy with,
that's right.
You're a winner right there. And if anything flows beyond you, then it's gravy for everybody else, because too many people also focus on what are people going to think. So they'll say things so people will think things, but it may not be genuine or authentic to themselves. And now they're leaving a false legacy where now you're telling people you're not,
Yes.
and they're picking up on it, and now you're, because of maybe embarrassment, shame, a million things, you're afraid to share who you are
Right.
and what you are. And at that point, people now again are getting misrepresented. And I think there's a definite movement towards goodness. I think
Yeah.
people are just overwhelmed with the
Yes.
anger, the hate,
Yes.
the divisions, and I'd say 99% of people in the world just want to live a happy, peaceful life.
Right.
They just want to be with their family, earn a living, have
Right.
some play, and go back and not worry about things. But it's always the loud, the mean ones that talk over the crowd. And if that's all you hear, that's all you know. And that's why I think moving from one circle that doesn't serve you,
Yes.
that's a circle of thought,
Right. Right. Right.
relationships, a circle of action,
Yeah.
right? And it's hard because it's easy to leave somewhere for a better place you know. It's hard to leave the only place to a place you may not know. And that's why having bridges built where you can cross over to people. And, asking is really giving people an opportunity to give. And most people who don't ask think it's an imposition or an intrusion. But in most cases, people who have more than enough are looking for ways to make it a legacy from them. That's why some people
Yes.
give money instead of thought or time. Some people give time instead of that. But everybody can give something, because when you're the giver, you now appreciate what a giver feels like. And by asking, you know how to ask, because you know what it is to be asked and what it is
Yes.
to return something. So I think, again, if someone bases something on intention and then follows it and puts it in an envelope of respect and
Mhm.
acknowledgement, and because you got to give people not only a reason why what you need is important to have, but to give them a reason why they're the ones who are going to provide it for you. Right. And most people, if you're deserving, and I think that's another word, most
Oh.
most people want what they, ask what they need or want, but not always what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you've earned it and no one's recognized it, that's not asking. That's again sharing. And conversations don't have to be a yes or no in the beginning, because when you put somebody on a spot who hasn't been able to buy enough vowels to solve the puzzle.
Right.
So anyways, we can get deep into this, but we only have an hour, and this would take about 8. So we'll go to comments. I agree, Rita, regarding the need for mentorship. It can cause a deficit in our lives when we don't have a mentor.
Right.
You can't sell what you don't buy, and you don't buy what you don't use, right? So, if you want people to do things, you need to be doing them and be the model. What we all are is a miracle. We want better for ourselves, our family, and for our communities. And that's the thing. There's a wealth of resource and information inside of us. So you don't have to go to a finite measurement outside of us and then compete to figure how we're going to get a better split. If we can really manifest in ourselves more action, more activity. And how many asks do you have in a day? If you ask 2 people for a favor, you're doing a lot. So it's not the time, it's really the initiative, the motivation, and you'll surprise yourself when you start doing it and getting positive results. I agree, Rita. We go, okay. I saw there was another one. Dennis is here. He's always here with his great rhymes. A great being the present moment is and others. Matt says that is the best mentoring and teaching. Ask support. Uh, Social legacy, exactly the correct frame to look at.
Right.
Kim is okay. And as we go down, I think we covered that. So with that said, Omar, anything here that rings a bell?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mentorship thing that Rita and most of you guys had said,
Mhm.
we all need, right? As the point, we're all good at something, right? Like you mentioned with Bill and I. So be it let's say you need a tutor or you need a teacher or something. We cannot uh, teach ourselves everything, right? Remember the time right? When we learned to drive a car, did we just go and drive ourselves? No, we went and our parents or we had a teacher, we had somebody to help us in how to, drive the car and become successful after those years. So we all need support in some kind, whatever it is, either education, either medically, mentally, that can help us out. And so having that support, because we're humans, we prefer one-to-one level in terms of talking to somebody rather than, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, do this. We tend most of the time to start with the negative always, not with the positive. Start with the positive first before you go with the negative. Oh, good job on this, but you could do this better. Don't just say no, 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 no. That will definitely help. And I do. Is there a question? Oh, there's a question for me. How do you believe creativity impacts being a life learner? That is a great question, Kim. Creativity impacts being a life learner. Of course. So being creative for whatever it is, like a book or creating a show or doing collective work with people, collaborating will definitely help impact a learner, right? Because the way you are showing it will make an impact. Let's say you have bright colors, right? The bright colors might say, I saw a post, I think from Christy the other day. She put butterfly in there for her show that she's doing, and that really showed me, oh wow, this is interesting. So that made me motivated. You've probably seen it too. I was like, wow, how did they do that? You're watching it, all of a sudden this butterfly comes in the middle and just flies away, and I'm like, wow, we need something like that, and that's gonna make people want to come. So Kelly and Christy are great. They were on this show, and they're doing their own show now as well on Tuesday. Look forward to them. I'm saying hello, a shout out to them as well. So there's I talked a little bit over, but I think it's Rita's turn.
Yeah, well, I think that's so important because what I've learned is everybody who becomes a regular co-host here just flies from here, and everybody ends up with their own show, and I applaud them because this is really like a place you enroll and graduate from, and then come back to and share what you learned. And I think that's so vital, that having something that duplicates, having something that can scale on a large level in a short period of time, just by being in the right place at the right time, because there's so few people doing LinkedIn Lives.
Yeah.
They're 24 times more powerful than an organic video. And organic videos take time, editing, production, scripting.
Right.
It's like forever, and it looks scripted no matter how spontaneous you want to be. I see we have a question for Rita, and the question is for him. Have you been able to navigate your teaching skills to other areas of your life, Rita?
That was an interesting question. I've been thinking about that, but I needed to listen to what you were saying. So let me do a quick think here. My feeling is that for me, teaching and writing are like breathing. Everything in my life has been about kids. So I would say working with the parents over the years and teaching with teachers in almost 600 classrooms, which was the basis of one of my books, staying with teachers and principals, it just greatly impacted every part of my life because I got to see people who were like me and people who were not like me, and we learned together. But the bottom line is all of us, by listening with intention and by observing, we will find that every area of our life improves, in my opinion, at least for me. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I wanted to switch the topic a little bit right now. So I wanted to talk about, again, the larger legacy, okay? Because I think it's really important. And so I just want to throw it out to the group again about the legacy can be really great or not so great. So what are we as a collective people in the whole world? What are we doing to leave a better legacy than the things that we see that we don't think are going well? So I'd like to toss that one. That was the third thought I had. The first one, again, once the legacy was defined, is personally, what have we done and how do we feel about meeting our purpose, and where are we in our head? The second was about leaving a tangible, some kind of artifact about our time on this beautiful earth. And then the third was the larger idea of legacy. And Omar and I had kicked that around because we agreed that was very important. And Matt Allen might want to chime in on this one. But that's the bigger issue I'm looking at right now, is that third one. What can we do together? Where are we?
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't mind, Don, let me go. I mean, yeah, what can we do together? Collaborate, right? We need to collaborate together, not separate and not show hate, but make a book together. You know, if you're a certain nationality, work with a different nationality and work together. Maybe your ideas and their ideas will come up with something.
Right.
If you are a certain religion, talk to somebody from a different religion, collaborate on your ideas. You might find more commonalities than you think, right? Maybe write a book together, your religion versus their religion, or your ideas versus their ideas. And in that way, you'll show other people, oh, this person and this person were able to work together. Why can I not do that together, right? I had a meeting the other day with a lady from Florida, a white lady who met with people from Africa. The Africans never met the white person, so she's meeting with them. And if shout out to you
Yes.
there, met MJ. She's great. I met with her the other day, and when she met with the Africans, because the African people are a little bit tense with the whites, unfortunately, and so she came on in a nice way. They're able to open up to her, and they're able to. So that's the legacy for her, that white people are not as bad as we portray from history. You know, so yeah,
Right.
that kind of thing. So yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think, Omar, you make a great point. And here's what I'd like to add to it is shows like this you can do in a second, right? With anybody you want. And I love diversity. I love to be inclusive. I love the benefit of complement and contrast because it gives the viewer more to look at, more perspective from different perspectives. And that's where just coming together, like you two decided to have a show together, made my life easier than having to match somebody up, maybe, or where you already have some bridges being built. But the comments are coming in fast and furious. So let me recognize them and some of the people. Dennis, yes, show up, not off. So smart. Kim has been with us about every day for the last 3-4 weeks. I think the focus is taking action now. Eventually, you can only get so motivated and so smart. And then you got to go to application, and that's where you get the benefit. Matt Allen says societal legacy, exactly the correct frame to look at, Omar. Matt then goes on to say that is the best mentoring and teaching. Ask, support, listen, and share. We're giving advice, but you can practice advice to test it for yourself. Why have history in your life? You don't want to be in the witness protection program here on LinkedIn. I agree. Being in the present moment is a present for us and others. Coming back to Kim, I agree, Rita, regarding the need for membership. It can cause a deficit in our lives when we don't have a mentor. Matt says what we all are is a miracle. We want better for ourselves, our families, and our communities, locally, nationally, and world community. Dennis comes again, think in on LinkedIn. Great. Donald Cohn, taking is greed. It is the way of those who have the most. Giving is love. It is the way of those who often have the least. And love translates really well everywhere. Question from Omar, how do you believe creativity impacts being a life learner? We'll get back to that. Leslie's here popping in. Leslie's just the greatest. We have had some calls last few weeks and just an unbelievable, valuable resource and so helpful in so many ways. And actually, Leslie will be on Monday, so tune in. And Leslie has her topic, which I'll read before we end. Leslie, hats, you are the miracle. Nicole, has a fabulous story. I think she will be here next week. I made it. Hello, everyone. Donald Cohen. Matt says, you made it. You are the miracle. Kim is, Don, you created a platform for people to learn, thrive, and fly. Thank you. Well, if it wasn't for everybody, when I did it by myself, they were 8 minutes, and I didn't have enough me to go 9 minutes. On and a second co-host on and made it all about the audience, right? And because everybody's got limited time and many choices, and to do something for an hour a day takes redirection of what that hour used to do. But the key is making small changes every day that compound and become bigger changes as you go down the road. And it's more fun with people. It's more fun with like-minded people and people who you see every day and get to know every day. Rita, that words that make sense. You can speak for me for sure. Am Bambola, who's just unbelievable. She's been a everyday audience for months now. She's in Nigeria, and I can't tell you how many people in Nigeria are listening now because of that. And everybody has their amplified voice now that they can hear. Blessing. Paul Dyke says, hi, everyone. Hello. Matt comes back with, I'm bringing kudos and will leave the legacy for us all as we are in the miracle. Hi, Tim. Nice to have friends within friends. What can we do together to create legacy? Matt comes back with, okay, hello. Leslie is a prodigious commenter. Book anthologies are great collaborators. It's so true. I know someone putting those together. Hey, Matt, glad to see you. Friends, welcome, sis. Matt comes back with blessings. Hello. Oh, great. Blessings. Hello. Thank you. Please. Matt Allen, yes, I am. So you are my friend. We have Ice here who gave me permission to use that nickname. Great morning to all. Kim, collaboration helps answer questions that we didn't know to ask ourselves or others. Blessing comes back with great to meet you. Ambambola. Blessing. Everybody's, oh, Kelly's here. Kelly's been an anchor for us and has been a constant supporter. And like we mentioned, Kelly and Christy are coming up with a show this Tuesday. So tune in. There's never enough of these shows for people to learn from and to grow with. Matt comes back with, okay, friends there too. And with that said, who's next? Was it Matt? Was it Rita?
Could I go back? I'm out of order.
It starts with something and ends wherever it goes.
Okay, I wanted to add back on that question about carrying things on in the rest of my life. That's a really important question for all of us. For me, it's about walk the talk and then talk the walk. So I believe everything is modeling. Emmy, model everything. And so when we're talking about what can we do and how does what I believe impact my whole day, it absolutely does, because I'm an optimist. And so it helps me get through the darkest days and the storms of life that we all go through. I'm not the only one. All of us have something. But when we join together and we walk the talk, it's way different if we've already done it. So mentoring is right there. But in your whole day, if we approach everybody with goodness and kindness and help this one person, Mother Teresa said, don't worry about everybody. Start with the person right next to you, right by you. So that's how I've been living my life, and I intend to keep doing it that way to hopefully inspire every person I meet. And I'm always here for you.
Well, I believe that's as authentic as it gets, and I would take advantage of the opportunity. Omar, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are definitely great points for sure. I want to go with the question here that Kim put on here. What can we do together to create legacy, right? As we talked about that before, right? Writing a book,
Yes.
Getting together, getting to know people. That is a legacy. Having
Yes.
good manners in front of people, that's a legacy, right? Like, for example,
Yes.
coming and opening a door for somebody, they're going to remember that, oh, that guy opened the door. Okay,
That's
so days on that, rather than slamming the door in their face, or you're going there before them. So these small things matter. Uh,
Yes.
and like you said earlier, I lost
Yeah.
the track of what you said, but the small things that impact us are the important things, and that's gonna leave a big legacy on people. Whatever it is, it might not be that huge, but if we work together to improve the well-being and the mannerism of people, that's one of the main things.
Mhm.
Well, I think that,
Well said.
to line up with that is it's the little things that make a difference, but it's the little things that are easy to do. I had a person who I really mentored, came into my business and was just a retail stock person. Within a year, they were running the e-commerce division. And he was so excited because, he went from $10 an hour to 100,000 a year just because of merit and performance. It didn't
Mhm.
matter where he was from or what he did or didn't do. It's what can you do and what can you do now? Because legacy doesn't support you down the road, right? Things you did a year ago are done. They're in the books. You can't use them forever. And I think that's so important, is to freshen up yourself, is to build multiple legacies.
Mhm.
How many people were brilliant in the architectural world and then they pivoted to politics and maybe to education,
Mhm.
and they left a legacy wherever they went in whatever area they were involved in because of how they communicated their legacy. There's so many people who have legacies that will never be known, have stories that were
Yeah.
never told, have a voice that was never heard or a person never seen. And that's because in the old way, you had to qualify. Today you send a resume, you're one of thousands, right? But if you create your own show, you're one of one talking to thousands. And that's why, when people, talk about HR and what a terrible market it is, and it is, because it's like musical chairs with less chairs and faster music. You know,
Yeah.
People are having a hard time keeping up, but that's because they're going through a system that's broken. This is
Right.
going direct. Like I say, if I was out of work and looking for some, I'd get on a LinkedIn Live at 9, just like I was going to work, stop for lunch, get back on the LinkedIn Live till 5 and do it every day and talk about myself, not my job, but here's who I am, here's where I am, here's what I'm dealing with. And eventually you attract somebody. But Gary Vee, who I'm not a big fan of how he speaks and stuff, but he did, someone asked him on their LinkedIn Live or podcast, and he asked him, how many did you do so far? And they said like 12. And he said, when you get to 100, I guarantee you I'll be on. And what's going to happen, you'll never get to 100, right? So the key is really doing something that you love doing if you're going to
Yes.
do it long term. When I did my first show, I had to run around a track that I knew nobody was watching, right? Because you're the first one to know and the first one to do. So you're alone initially. And you just keep doing it until someone pays you some attention, right? And that's how you build, is one brick at a time, one person at a time. And it's amazing if you can duplicate through others how
Mhm.
this can grow, how important it can be. And my whole reason for doing anything is it has to be sustainable, it has to be
Mhm.
duplicatable, and it has to be scalable to a large extent. And LinkedIn Live gives you the platform for free. I mean, what if the Super Bowl gave you a commercial for free, right? I mean, you wouldn't pass it up. You would probably spend a lot of time figuring it out. With that, let's go to more comments. I mean, the comments are so cool. It's very to collaborate in a meaningful way. Yeah, because you got to respect everybody's time, everybody's
Mhm.
place, and that's why asking questions is so more important than presuming answers. Where's the rush? You know, why couldn't you just say, before you say something, ask about that something, and then maybe you'll find out there's a sensitivity. Maybe there's an interest, but at least it gives you some direction. Could you drive a car without a speedometer or a gas gauge? You're guessing all the time and fearing most of the time too. James,
You
question
could, but it's not going to work.
more?
I said you could drive it, but it's not going to work.
You're going to be thinking about things you shouldn't have to think about, right? If you don't have direction, if you don't know how much gas you got in the tank, or overcompensating by filling up every 10 miles. We are entering an era where the past and the future will have no importance. AI will make that happen. Our only legacy would be how well we unite and create harmony with the supreme and immortal planet. Well, I think that's profound and important. And, the thing is we're people. I think we're making a mistake. When everybody said all these machines are time savers, I've never seen more people with less time for more important things in my life. Right? Go to dinner with 4 people and they're all looking at their phones, and their phones aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And people will be. And I think that's so important. And that's why sometimes the only thing you can depend on is what you can see, touch, and feel in the moment. Because with AI and all this other stuff, it's distortion, misrepresentation, manipulation. I mean, people shouldn't have to be thinking of defense every time they take a step or have a thought. And the only way to do it is get back to what used to be. And I think that's why old school is getting more honored, because there's been too much of a shift to high tech and not high touch. And now people who have the old school aren't going to be here forever. And their legacy and what they could have brought to somebody is gone. And now you're going to deal with the next generation, and eventually the time frame or the life cycle of something is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, right? When you looked at businesses in the past, they lasted 100 years before they went out of business. And then it went to 20. And now it's who's got the idea today. And if you're not responsive, if you're not capable, you're going to miss out. And the only way to do it is not to be a genius and know everything, but build a circle of 10 or 12 that know elements of what you need and be the one element that fits into the mosaic for them. And now you've got the strength and the cohesiveness of 13 people. And that way you're never alone. Too many people in the past had 1 or 2 people that made all the difference in their life. Now you have 15, 20 for different areas. You're never going to be alone. You'll always have a specialist. And if everybody works hard to gain the trust and the access, and I think that's another thing people don't fully appreciate. When you meet up with people who have big circles, they have big access. And they typically have a lot of credibility and third-party validation. So if someone says, I just met Jim, got a great story, had a little bad luck here, needs a position, I think you'd be great with them. Talk to them, right? And I mean, Paul just 2 weeks ago gave me 5 introductions just out of a clear blue sky. And all of them turned out to be great. All of them now are becoming guests on the show. And just this week, I've had 6 conversations with 6 new people who will be on the show again. So, the idea of people moving off and doing their own show, that's great because it makes space for the people coming up. It's kind of like a comedy club, like we just found this great talent. They're on tonight. Let's give them a hand. And that's where you get better, is people giving you a hand. I did 6 months of LinkedIn Live with another person twice a week for 6 months before I did this on my own for 10 months every day. And if it wasn't for that show, I would have felt there was too huge of a divide, too difficult of a challenge. And what I found is, and it occurred to me, I was walking by my desktop 10 months ago or so, and I said, you're always thinking of something. You always got thoughts in your head. Why don't you just sit down, flip the switch, and share them, right? And it's as simple as that. And eventually, when people see how easy it is, how comfortable you are, how comfortable they can be, you've already, it's like I say, if you had a puppy that was adorable and you wanted a happy home, I always say, go to a family with 2 little kids on a Friday night and say, can you take care of my puppy till Monday? You'll never get them back, And actually, what was so cool, I talked to a lady, Leslie Nydick. I don't know if you know her, but I talked to her. She's coming on the show in a few weeks. She's a doctor down in Miami. She's got a wonderful story. and her husband volunteers at the Humane Society. Program at home for the weekend. And people will come in on a Friday, take a dog, a cat, a rabbit, and bring it back on Monday. But half the people who check them out never bring them back. So what the inference is if you do something that has so much value and share it with somebody and let them experience it for themselves, right? Then you don't have to sell them. They've already found the value, and most people don't know when to put the toll booth in, right? They put the toll booth in when they need the money or they want to do something versus, hey, give everybody a sample for a week or a month or 2 months, right? Because once they know what it is, now they know what it's worth. And either way, it's good to say in or out, up or down, and can we work together? And I think the person who's out there being proactive, reaching out, everybody that shows up and views my profile, likes this post or this show gets tagged, right? Because it's recognition for being recognized, and you're always better off using inbound for your outbound. You're always better off saying, thank you so much for taking the time to visit my profile, and if it's somebody you want to get to know, say, I see we have a lot in common. It'd be great to have a Zoom. Either way, you're going to extend the conversation. You find out you're talking to someone who already put a ceiling up, and nothing is going to happen beyond that, at least for now. And that gives you an opportunity to redirect your time to the people who want to talk. And, if you've got a calendar, the only reason it's not full is because you didn't do anything to fill it up. You've been waiting for someone to show up who isn't showing up, hasn't shown up. And if they do show up, they're going to show up anyways, no matter what you do. So, there's a lot of stuff we just said. Omar, we've got about 8 minutes. Well, we got a little bit more. It's weekends. I'm not as conscious to top it out. Omar?
Yes, thanks. So, yeah, good point. I like the point that you mentioned, Don, that people got connections. I want to say a couple of weeks ago, Gretchen, so I connected with her, and one of my clients, a student of mine that I was tutoring and teaching, basically needed some assistance in a job. And so I reached out with Gretchen, me and Gretchen and this fellow student of mine who didn't know what he wants to do. And she's a great asset. So that's why through LinkedIn, you can meet people sometimes and they're able to help you with certain things. So I found something in her, and shout out to her if she's in there. I know she's great. Some people, you're able to see this thing, the trait they have, the skill that they're able to help people. And with social media, it spreads faster. People are more on like YouTube or LinkedIn, and they're able to see that word or that faster than they are to grab the remote control on the cable to watch it. So if you're spreading more good than hate, it's going to spread faster through the social media, right? That's going to make it an impact better. And so that's why, what you're doing, Don, is great. I mean, you impact other people to do a show. I did a couple of shows because of you. And so, everybody pretty soon will have their own show just because of you, so.
Well, it's so gratifying because Gretchen had never done a show before, and Jenny Maxwell, who did every Wednesday for 4 months. Gretchen did every Monday for 4 months. Tara Gooch did every Friday for 6 months. She was the first one. All three of them had never done a LinkedIn Live. And then Tara just blew up and got so much exposure and credibility and speaking engagements. And then Gretchen went to every other Monday because she got so busy. And Jenny went to every other Monday because she got so busy. So, it's like having students that graduate 3 years early, right? Because either they're in an advanced class. But here's the thing, and I think you make an important point, Omar, is all these people who are LinkedIn Live have a lot of influence already, have a following. When they see somebody and they share somebody, it's not one person, it's their whole network. And it's the trust they built up. Because if you do this every day, everybody sees you for who you are, right? You can't live a lie forever. And why would you want to? And when they see how you show up for people, they say, I always say, how people see and talk about other people is how they see and talk about you, right? If you're with somebody that's always complimentary, always supportive, never says anything negative, you're going to say, if I'm with that person, that's what I'm going to be getting. So in essence, it's not what you say, it's what you show as you,
right.
because, they'll come for what you have. They'll either stay or leave because of you, because everybody needs a friend. Everybody needs somebody they can talk to. And, and most people, that's how we started the show, with strategy, technique. That went out the window like in a week and a half, because everybody was either having anxiety, depression, PTSD, or know someone, or anticipate something. And at that level, everybody's equal, right? If two people are going through anxiety, it doesn't matter if they're a colonel in the army, or working at McDonald's. There
Right.
is nothing that separates them, because now they went deeper and they got to a core that they all are in need of help. And there isn't somebody who has everything and somebody has nothing. Everybody's dealing with it the same way. And if it's not now, it'll be later, right? So why not build those walls and defenses when you need them? And if you don't need them, now you've got all this capacity to help others. And I'd rather be the giver than the taker or the needer, in any case. So with that, we'll get some more comments, and then we'll get final thoughts. Jatendra says, "All remember, positions are temporary, ranks
Right.
and titles are limited, but the way you treat people will always be remembered." And I have so many people who listen to these shows and participate in these shows, and it's always memories of their grandparents, of their uncles,
That's right.
and a lot of them had no formal education. A lot of them just learned by learning, on their own through experience. And some of them had so many wonderful insights you can't get
Right.
in a book, you can't get from a stranger. And, it's not just a message, but how it's delivered. If someone is loving, caring, you don't care about their pronunciation. I had grandparents who never could quite get the English language, but when the grandkids used to make fun, they used to say, "Well, I know 7 languages, right? How many do you know?" So, and I think that's important, is not what people share, but what there is to share. And if someone gives you everything, I remember going to a family that didn't have nothing, and they'd have a cookie, or something special, usually food, they wanted to share, but that told you everything about
That's right.
it, right? Just to finish up, we got Matt here. I'm almost scared. I have 2 shows a week already. Fear is not a bad thing as long as you don't let it control you. If you let it direct you, right? If you know there's an edge of a cliff, that's fear if you keep getting
Right.
too close to it, but it also keeps you off of the side. And so many people are afraid of falling out a window until they figure out they're on the first floor, right? And it was never something; it was in their mind. So with that said, I think we covered most of the comments. I'll let Omar say. Oh, Rita, you want to say your final?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much here that I'm going to be unpacking and thinking about it more than just staying awake last night. But I want to remind us all that Mr. Rogers had it right when he said, always look for the helpers. And so that's what we're really talking about here. When we're talking about legacy, we're talking about the helpers. And we are the helpers. If it's not us, who? And now, when? We are in a defining moment. And I know that through our words and our actions that we can make a dent into what's happening. In spite of all, I still believe in the transforming power of love, and love is always stronger than hate. So, for our legacy, we're thinking of it in ways that will enrich everyone, not just a select few, but everybody deserves the help. And I'm just honored to be here today with Donald. Thank you for asking me. And Omar, thanks for joining, and the hats and all of it. I had a great time. Thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure having you, Rita, and I'm so glad to share what we had, conversations that can now be expanded conversations among many more people. And I believe you bring the message through the way you deliver your message that makes it even more important and impressive. And I know it's sincere and thoughtful. So Thank you so much. Omar, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Don, again, and Rita. It was a pleasure to come in with you guys. Last thought is legacy, right? Legacy is our legacy. Make sure to collaborate together. Make sure to impact society in a way that people will remember it. Yeah, and like you said, no lying. This is the time to take our mask off if we are not truthful, right? So if we're not able to be our authentic self, who can we be, right?
Right.
It will show up after weeks and weeks. So it's really hard and impossible to fake it. Fake it till you make it, as they say. So this is the time here. So thank you so much, Don and Rita. It's been exciting. And hopefully we'll do it again. And always a pleasure, Mr. Cohen.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have both of you. I'll just finish off by sharing the new comments that just came through. Almost scared, not I am. Either way, it's always going to be an element. It's just depending on how you deal with it. Have you recorded this conversation? Well, every one of these LinkedIn Lives are posted on my profile. You can go back 300 days and see 300 of them. And that's what's great. Plus, they also simulcast on YouTube. So if you want to watch them there, and actually they have captions there. Welcome to live. Thank you for coming. Kim, Brian, the replay will be available later. And share it. If you like the show, share it with friends. Maybe, they'll get some benefit. And that's how this works so much better. Matt Allen is applauding Rita again. Ice says, love the conversation. Wonderful words were shared by Mr. Omar, Rita, ma'am, and Donald, sir. Thank you. You're so polite and thoughtful. And you're really a model for what we can build with throughout the world, right? And everybody has influence with people. Leverage it. There's 900 million people on LinkedIn. If everybody reached out today and did something nice for 7 people, we'd cover the globe, right? That's how you can scale this thing.
Right.
It's not one person talking, it's one person talking through hundreds. Omar M, greetings.
I would like to say hello to James. James, that was one of the I followers. He's a great guy. And so I just realized I was able to share it. I was trying to figure out yesterday the guy you had on, was it?
I know it's not. Yeah.
I was like, yes. So he saw in my profile. There's a button I switched. So James is great, and he's been watching my program Zoom Party all the time, and so he's awesome. Just want to say shout out. He has his own show too. So yeah.
Well, it's great to have an awesome people who have awesome people. Thank you again.
That means you.
See you all. Matt is you're truly authentic. Great. Kim says, great discussion regarding legacy. Thank you so much, Kim. Look forward to having you this Thursday on the show. Brian says, awesome. Kim comes back with, take care. So glad you were here to share. Friends making friends. You can't beat it. It's all curated and pre-qualified here. I would almost start with this group and not worry about making stranger connections. A wonderful way to get a great start to Saturday. Always love being with the real people here, working to be community. Well, right. Thank you all. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, audience. Go out and have yourself a wonderful Saturday if you're in the Saturday time zone, because I know we've got Charles Caldwell typically as an everyday person, and he tunes in from Hong Kong at 11 p.m. at night and hardly misses any of these. So it shows dedication, commitment, and maybe modeling consistent, honest, lovable sharing content will catch on, because it sure makes people feel better and be better. So with that, see you all later. Thank you so much, Omar. Thank you, Rita. And everybody rest up. We'll be back 23 hours from now with Sarah. She's wonderful.